My friends, get ready for transfer deadline day. Learn the latest news surrounding Aubameyang, as finally we have found an agreement with Barcelona to sign him on a permanent deal. We have massive updates on our pursuits for Edson Alvarez, plus we have more news on other DM targets like Douglas Costa, Sangare and Billy Gilmour as well too. So we have a ton of things to break down and discuss. Make sure you guys stay with me today on transfer deadline day. By the end of this window, this could be a legendary window if we get all the targets we want. So it'll be a very exciting day. Hope you guys enjoy and getting straight into things. So now I want to quickly get through these Gilmour updates before I move on. So it does seem like Todd Boehly has struck again and has denied Billy Gilmour the opportunity to sign for Brighton on a permanent deal. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that negotiations are now over. Brighton are still advancing and still hoping to strike a deal, knowing the fact that Gilmour wants to sign for them as well, as he feels like Brighton is the best club for him to continue his development. Now interestingly enough, Tuchel sees Gilmour as surplus requirements, and this is where Todd Boehly's actions are quite interesting, because he has personally intervened to make sure that Gilmour does not leave on a permanent deal. Ideally, he wants him to leave out on loan, and unfortunately he can't go to Brighton on loan. They've already signed one player from us on a long-term deal. That is the rules in the Premier League. So who knows if other clubs get involved, but for me, the style of player that Gilmour is, for me, suits playing for a team like Brighton. So let's see how things play out. But it's not the first time that Boehly has personally intervened to stop permanent sales happening. There's a reason why Hudson-Odoi has a recall option in his loan terms, and there's a reason why there was no option to buy included in that loan term as well too. There's a reason why Colwell left out on loan and was not included as part of a permanent deal. And I can tell you guys as well too that he personally intervened as well to stop Chalobah leaving on loan. He feels that Chalobah is a useful part for the team, he would be needed, and he took matters directly in his own hands to ensure that Chalobah wouldn't be leaving. So I guess it's Todd Boehly's club, so his club, his rules. That seems to be the main thing behind why Gilmour is not allowed to leave on a permanent deal. He sees the future potential behind the player for very good reason. And for me, I like that Todd Boehly equally cares about the present as well as also caring about tomorrow. Now, that's something we don't see all the time. That's something that gets forgotten about quite a lot. On the previous management, it was always about the short term, now, and we struggled in the future. So for me, I think this is the right type of direction to take, in my opinion. I think Gilmour can add something. I'm a bit surprised why he's been made surplus requirements completely, especially considering he suits his style of football, and we have no midfield players at this point in time. So let's see what happens with this story. But now let's move on to the breaking reports. We talk about Aubameyang, and finally, we have captured and signed the player. We have reached full agreements now with Barcelona to get this deal over the line, and it seems like we won out in the end. And I have to quickly say, this is definitely a lesson learned for me. You know, a lot of times you're always thinking, we have the money, just pay whatever we have to and bring these guys here. But I guess that, I don't really respect the tactical negotiations that go behind, of course, getting deals on your terms. And I guess that plays an important factor and part when you're dealing with many clubs in a market like this, which is quite ruthless. So I definitely learned something from this, because in the end we have reached a total agreement of paying 6.5 million upfront, with Marcus Alonso included in a player exchange deal. And for a long time it was reported that Barcelona were outright refusing to have Alonso included in this deal. They wanted things to be separate. I guess for like accounting reasons it's better for them. However, with time running out and Xavi needing some experience at the back, it does make sense now that Alonso, of course, is going to Barcelona to get this deal over the line. Now, there could be personal reasons behind why Alonso wants to return back to Spain. Unfortunately, his father isn't doing too well. He's suffering with illness at this point in time. He was actually captured in Madrid, I think during the early hours of today, where he was going to see him. And it's believed that staying in Spain, of course, allows him to stay closer to his family. So, that's very good reasons. Good luck to Alonso. He has been a very useful player for us over the seasons, and he's had an amazing career with us. So good luck to him at Barcelona. So right now, this means that Aubameyang is currently en route to fly to London to get his medicals completed. Finally, we are getting the attacking player we need. And it seems like in the end too, Aubameyang reached the contract terms that he wants. So we found out that we have offered him a 2-year deal with the option to extend by a further year, depending on the percentage of performances that Aubameyang plays in his second season. So I think that's quite fair. He's earning good money, nice signing on fee, as well as the fact that he can play well enough to remain at the club for future seasons. So now we have our attacking players signed. We will have to wait a few weeks, of course, for Aubameyang to recover from his broken jaw he suffered during that attack when he was robbed at his yards, but it's believed that he could potentially get surgery to quicken things up, but at the same time, it might not be needed and we could just wait for him. So that is it. We've got one of our main guys captured and signed today. How do you guys feel about Aubameyang signing? Right now, let's move on to all the massive updates surrounding our efforts to sign Edson Alvarez. You know, I have to say I'm feeling quite optimistic and confident about this deal in my opinion. It seems that the player has gone on strike. He doesn't want to train at Ajax. He is desperate to force a move out from the club. He wants to move to us at all costs. He feels like this is a dream move for the player and he wants Ajax to start negotiating with us to get this deal over the line. Now, one of the unfortunate things behind our efforts to sign him is that the Dutch window actually closed at midnight last night. So that means that Ajax couldn't sign a replacement, of course, first to actually allow Alvarez to leave. So the news that dropped this afternoon kind of changes everything right now. And that's the fact that Ajax are close to signing Florian Grillitsch, the former Hoffenheim midfield player, on a one-year deal. And the reason why they can sign him is because Grillitsch is a free agent and you can sign free agents outside of any transfer windows. So you're thinking, with the money and offer we've made, it's time to start talking out Ajax, it's time to start negotiating, and it's time to start getting this move wrapped up before deadline day ends today. So I'm going to give you guys some more thoughts and opinions behind why I feel a move for a player like this is pretty significant, because this is a DM. This is completely different to like the deep line playmakers that we've relied upon in Jorginho and others before. And for me, I think this is the right profile this team has needed for a long time. And it comes down to this. I think Tuchel's style of positional play does work, but for me, I think to really maximize it, you need to have a squad that's fully capable of playing in tight spaces between the lines. You need profiles that have that low center of gravity that can, you know, play in tight spaces, that can skip past players for fun, etc, etc. And from a business point of view, it would be pretty impossible for us to be able to really turn that vision into a dream, because we'd have to sell nearly all our attacking players and to sign complete brand new ones. It's not going to happen. And for me, I've always felt like there's more power, there's more verticality in this team, and there should be a system that kind of takes advantage of the power that we possess actually in terms of like our intensity, our pressing, and the willingness to make those runs and behind as well too. I think this is why we need to see something different, because I feel like we've been clocked a bit now by our opposition teams in the Premier League, and this is where Alvarez can add something so much, because now he gives us the tactical ability now to move to a back four. Him and Fofana are the two main reasons why I feel we should potentially be seeing a 4-3-3 now. And for me, it's not even the fact that Alvarez is a world-class DM. He is not a world-class DM. He is a very good one that has shown that he improves every single season. He's at the right age now to take his game to the next level by coming to us as well. For me, the power of Alvarez is in the fact that he makes his team play better. He makes his team play better in the sense that he wins those first duels, he wins those second duels. He gives them the assurance at the back when players want to get forward, because to counter teams that want to park the bus and sit back, you need to have more winning runners in behind. You need to have more options in the final third. We have not had that. We are not a team that has that experience. We don't have Benzema's in this team where all these guys need is 1-2 chances a game. These guys are still growing. They're still learning. And I think the only way to really improve is to maximize these scoring opportunities and create more of them. And this is where Alvarez comes in, because for me, he will make your Mounts, your Kais, your Sterlings, your wingers better. He brings life back now to your Pulisics and your ZX. He adds more to the team from a tactical point of view. So for me, this is why I'm fully behind this move. And it's quite interesting that Tuchel now has turned his attention to signing a DM. I guess he must have been a bit fed up and sick and tired of Jorginho constantly giving away turnovers and not having that physical presence to defend forward at times. So big news around Alvarez. Let's hope we get the confirmation pretty soon, you guys. But right now, let's move on to the next story. And let's talk about other DMs that we turned our attentions to in Sangare, as well as Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa. Starting with Sangare, we actually presented an offer of around £38.9 million towards PSV, so around 45 million euros to try and tempt them to sell. Now, it was going to be incredibly hard to try and sign Sangare based on the fact that the Dutch window ended at midnight and PSV would need time to bring a replacement, and there was no time for that. So realistically, they had to turn down the deal because they can't sign anyone right now. So it seems that Sangare now is off the cards. Now, what's funny is that if we had made a move for him earlier on, he had a release clause of around 37 million euros, around 31 million pounds. And for me, He's another one of these like physical type of authoritative figures I think our team needs. You know, we've lacked this type of profile ever since Matic left us to sign for Man United. I think Sangare is also not a world-class player, but he's a very good player that can grow more. He's got composure. He can play forwards between the lines. He's comfortable carrying the ball as well too, and he would have been a very interesting option to explore. But I guess that's something for another day. To move on now to Douglas Luiz. Luiz could be the backup we turn to in case anything for Alvarez ends up failing. One of the main reasons why Luiz is so popular now in the window, he has interest from Atletico Madrid. Arsenal are making heavy, massive efforts to try and sign him before deadline day ends. It's because he has 1 year left on his deal. Gerrard, of course, has kind of hinted and alluded to the fact that he could accept that Luiz might not be here, essentially saying that it comes down to Luiz, his agent, and the boards. And the board may feel, well, with the money we're getting for a player in the final year of his contract, we've got Kamara. It makes more sense to sell him now and invest back into the team. So realistically, he could be the backup we turn to in case anything falls through for Edson Alvarez. But you know, to give my thoughts and opinions, we all saw that incredible goal he scored a few days back from the corner. Don't expect that all the time. He is a good player. I have actually clocked him before. But for me, I feel like he's more of like a defensive deep line playmaker. I want more authority. I want more physical presence. I want someone who's going to always win that first duel, always win those second duels, because as I'm stressing, it's about defending forwards to stop counterattacks. And if you've got guys who are missing out on tackles, giving away silly fouls, etc., then you add more pressure to us and you kind of limit our ability to push more men forwards into the final thirds. Luiz is nice on the ball. You know, he is a good player in his own right. He makes more sense at Arsenal, in my opinion. I think Edson Alvarez being a more natural DM is what this team needs, a lot more than signing someone who's another deep line playmaker that can defend well. So you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Make sure you have the bell notification button set on because there'll be so many videos coming out today and streams as well too. I'm going to be here throughout the entirety of Transfer Deadline Day. Big things are soon to come. Let's hope this window ends up being an absolutely insane one. And on that note, you guys, I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.